Norm obviously spoke before the game about kind of this past road trip, those third quarters kind of being the problem, and it kind of happened today as well, but this time you guys overcame it. Can you just kind of talk about kind of overcoming it in that second half?
Yeah, I mean, I thought we had the right intentions coming out, trying to play the right way, play with the right energy. I think it's in that third quarter, it came down to missing shots, and then they capitalizing on that. But I just liked our mentality and the way we stuck together and kept fighting and didn't cave in. In previous games, especially on this road trip, he talked about the big runs that teams went on, and us trying to kind of giving into it. And I thought tonight we did a great job of holding on to the rope, trusting one another, continuing to fight, continuing to make winning plays down the stretch of the game.
Norm, obviously Bam does so much more than scoring, but how good was it to see the ball go through the basket for him tonight? And what's been kind of your guys' message to him during this stretch of, where he's maybe not scoring up to his usual standards?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's great. Thought he really got us going, start the game in his aggressiveness and in his attacks and not turning down the open looks. And my message to him is to keep going. I told him even last game, it don't matter whether you make or miss, man. They're empty calories. You put the work in. If it's a good shot that you work on, if it's in and out, if you miss bad, whatever, the next one is always the best shot. I just told him to clear his head and just hoop. He know what he can do. We know the player that he is. And it's just clearing his mind and making the plays that are in front of him. I thought he did a great job tonight of doing that, and then especially down the stretch. Taking the shots with confidence and believing in his work, and it definitely paid off. But I thought the energy and focus of him playing a pure game allowed him to do that. The steal on the inbounds where you got the dunk. The ball finds energy, the game finds energy, and he was able to capitalize on that.
Acknowledging that you and Tyler just really haven't had that much time on the court together so far, does it feel like, especially on a night like this when you both have good games, you guys are trending in the right direction in terms of your synergy together?
Yeah, we're just going to keep working. We're both confident, not only in our own abilities, but in each other. We're talking to each other out the course of the game. We're talking to each other on the bench. When he was out, he was talking to me. When I've been out, talking to him in the games that he's played. So, we know what we both can bring to the table. But like you said, it's all about us, getting comfortable and learning how each other plays, our spots, and how we can play off of one another with our skill set. But I think the more and more reps we get, the more and more practice time we have, and working the offense and getting us to our spots, it's going to just get better.
On that same note, you had two clutch buckets. It was both off the ball. One was a cut, one was a corner three. I guess just is that what you see, I guess, with that closing lineup specifically, that maybe a Time or Tyler that's on the ball and you can kind of be the guy off the ball where you guys could switch off? Just what do you like about that closing lineup?
Yeah, this thing is so versatile. Like I said, you can put Jaime in there, you can put me, Tyler, and have a bunch of guys that can, attack the paint, draw defense in, and make the plays out of there, whether that's for them to finish or kick out, and I thought Jaime did a great job of cracking the paint, and then it's on us to make the reads off the ball. But I think that's the versatility in our games. We don't need the ball every single possession to be effective on the offensive end. We can play without the ball. We can play off of one another, play off of what the defense is doing and trying to take away based on who has the ball. That's what our offense is for everybody. Tonight was me on the recipient end making those plays and hitting those shots, but any given night it can be any one of us.
Norm, it was a very chippy game, obviously, and the one point where you and Dylan kind of got into it, Bam had to hold you. But just in general about how chippy it was, can you just kind of talk about the energy that kind of gives you guys?
Yeah, we know what Dylan Brooks does. We know his antics. We know what he tries to do. I've played against him since college. I know how he is. And I didn't feed into it for the majority of the game. Him trying to bump, hold, foul, talk. I just ignore him. But when he pushed me, that's when that was my line in the sand. But Bam held me back. We got the technical free throw, and you keep going. He's going to be him, and it doesn't really bother me no much.